Now how does an extra 120% of fourth ability power boost on top of whatever you're doing sound? Energy regain on damage, an extra 1200 health, an extra 75% melee damage boost, a 400 plus, or wherever it caps, crit damage boost, a speed boost, stealth boost, an armor boost. Oh yeah, you're invisible and invincible. How does that sound? Hey, what's happening, everybody? Hope you guys are feeling great. I'm Team Kills, and what I like to do is make gaming easier. So, I got a build for you that is just, well, this is just unfair. Like, there's a lot of good new things going on with some of the abilities and the arcanes and swaps that are coming out of the new 1999 Warframe update. But this is just, you're gonna see what I mean. I put evade on Valkyr, and holy shit, like I said, this is unfair. You can put whatever weapon you want in her hands, but for me, this is the queen of the crazy cat killers. She always and only has the Valkyr Prime on her hands, so she can scratch the absolute life out of everyone that comes near her. That's my choice. Whatever you want to choose, whatever weapon you want to use, 100% up to you. But I have a really good Blood Rush build with this one, nice and high crit. But like I said, whatever weapon you choose is up to you. Now, even though I went to the infested testicle in the back of the orbiter and I swapped out her first ability for evade, this build is mostly about hysteria. Her fourth ability gets all the power and all the attention. Her first and second abilities, like, it does work with duration, works great with this, but they don't need any power at all. So I used Precision Intensify, Coaction Drift, and Steel Charge. These mods here are for my melee and my fourth abilities, which are basically the same thing. These two mods stack for a 75% boost on my melee, and this mod here gives me a 90% boost for my fourth ability, which is basically melee. Narrow-minded and Naira's Hatred, that gives me duration. A little bit of health, but it's mostly for duration. Now, I chose Naira's Hatred. Boreal's Contempt is a good choice as well. Mainly because it will help you with the efficiency drain for your fourth ability. Same with Amar's Hatred, that one's even better. This will give you some ability strength for all your abilities across the board, and it will give you 25% armor. On this build, armor gives you more energy because of Arcane Battery. Now, while you guys are looking at this beautiful arcane that gives you more energy depending on how much armor you have, I also used Primed Flow. You don't need Primed Flow. Primed Flow brings me, like, I wanted a high energy pool and it brought me up to like 862 if I remember correctly. But if you use the normal flow, it's going to be like around 671 or 641. It's more than enough energy for what you need. You don't need the prime version. Arcane Crepuscular. I can't believe I got that one out. This arcane gives you an extra 30% ability boost and a 3 times critical multiplier, which is perfect for what I'm doing. But it only does it when you're invisible. Now my evade, which turns me invisible, that works for 25 seconds. Max duration, 37 seconds. Every time I kill someone, I'm gonna get 5 seconds added to it. So, I need this to run a full 60 seconds so I don't have a cooldown timer and I can do it again whenever I want. If I keep slashing people in the weak points, it's gonna go forever. And weak points happen to be faces, and you can slash people in the faces. This works great on the infested, the murmur, and the tech rot. It's okay on Grenier and the Oricon. Same with the Sentience. You gotta kind of be a little careful when it comes to the Corpus. Because of those nullifier bubbles, you run into that, it's gonna turn everything off, and you might be exposed if you're on Steel Path. But when you're slashing people, you will hit their face. With the claws, you want to do a spin attack. With Hysteria, its attack is like an overhead cat scratch lion type thing, so it will kill people with their faces. If you do a slide attack with Hysteria, the area is so nice and big, you almost always kill someone with a face weak point. Even the Corpus go down with their Moa tummy weak points. Now when I cast Warcry, this is going to increase my armor an extra 50%. It's also going to increase my speed by 30%, and it's going to slow down the enemies who are close enough in my original cast by 30%. Because of Arcane Battery, this is going to give me more energy, which is great when I'm running around with Hysteria. I forget to use the third ability all the goddamn time. With my first, second, and fourth ability running, I am a speedy, invincible blade monster. It's just so unfair. So I forget to use the third one to scare people, but I have rage on this, which gives me energy when I get hit, if I get hit. It gives me enough energy and I have enough health that if I'm getting hit, I could quickly go invisible, or I could turn on my fourth ability and get like 5 seconds of Hysteria, and I'll be able to get full health and run the hell away. If you take rage out, you can put it in her syndicate mod, like prolonged crap, can't remember the name. This one right here, what this mod does is it pulls enemies into you. When you're invisible, sometimes you're just walking around, not running to you so they can run into their death. So you can use that to pull them in and just tear them to pieces. Now you can take the Vesper because that does expose weak points. It's a great weapon for keeping your stealth going. But I'm not trying to shoot anyone in the face, and if I am, I'm not aiming. I chose the Cryon gun, sometimes the Nakor. Same difference. Those weapons, they chain to different enemies. Sometimes if you shoot one in the head, it could chain to other heads. It does. There's nowhere in the readout where it says it goes from head to head. But if you're in the practice mode and you're looking at the timer, sometimes it does chain to heads. Mostly, my primary weapon as the Basimu is the only weapon that I make sure that I bring. Mainly because when you unload this weapon, the entire clip, to empty, it sucks the souls and blood from the enemies that are around you, and it gives that back to you as health. This will help keep you alive. And as always, on all my blood rushes, I always have the School of Nariman focus running, mainly because I don't have to think about any blood rush counters, blood rush mods, or anything like that. I just think about the rush. Now I'm not going to go too deep into this at all. My Sly Vipafala, or Papala, as I prefer, this pet is a fucking monster. Tenacious Bond does reduce its death counter time when I shoot people in the face, but I'm not doing any of that. Most importantly, it boosts my final crit damage multiplier even more. Only if its critical chance is over 50%. My pet's critical chance is 90%, with an 8 times critical multiplier damage. And a 86, or I think it was 90, almost 100%. This thing's a monster. Not to mention, slash effects, they heal him because of Bloodthirst. We're both slashing the absolute shit out of everybody that comes by us, and the Hunter mods make sure that we get to share our slash effects. Now because of this pet, and because of Tenacious Bond, and the Arcane Crepuscular, it pushes my crit damage multiplier from 7.4 to 11.3. Now I did choose 3 purple Tau Forge shards. 2 of them give me a 37% critical damage boost. If my energy is above 500, it doubles, and my energy is above 500 whether you use Prime Flow or Normal Flow. The 3rd purple shard gives me 30% health when I pick up energy, and 30% energy when I pick up health. I'm not sure if I said that backwards, but it's basically like my own little extra equilibrium mod. I did choose 2 yellow Tau Forge shards. One gives me a 70% efficiency on my energy orbs, and the other gives me 150% efficiency on health orbs. So whatever orb I pick up, it's going to be a bigger orb. Now in my opinion, these yellows Tau Forge shards, these are the ones that you could definitely swap out, and so it could fit your playstyle better. Like the red ones for ability, melee buff, I believe range is there too. The blue ones for even more energy or health, even armor, which is kind of energy if you have Arcane Battery on still. Or even the orange ones if you got the health buff and you turn your weapons to like the blast status, and every time you kill somebody, you're gonna get some health. Death is gonna give you health. You'd be like a vampire. There's tons of great choices for this. That's all I'm trying to say. Oh yeah, and that reminds me, speaking of choices, if you're dying a lot, which is, you're tempted to go into the Natural Cells by yourself with a build like this, but if you're dying, you could swap out Arcane Battery for Arcane Blessing. You will still have enough energy to activate your 2 purple Tau Forge buffs, and you get an extra 112 health, or you will earn it as you kill people. This will help you stay alive. It will give you less energy, which is technically less time running around in hysteria, but you are invisible. You technically don't have to be invincible all the time. You could use it defensively and just be invisible and turn it on when you're dying, but Arcane Crepuscular does give you an extra 30% ability boost when you're invisible. So it makes sense to be hysterical or invincible when you're invisible. Now, I have to re-mention, this is a super late end game steal path solo go wherever the hell you want type of build. As you can see, all the footage in the background is steal path. I don't like to show off. I really don't. But sometimes you have to show what this can actually do instead of just talking about it, which is usually what I do. Holy shit, that was a lot. I'm gonna wrap this up just now. Just remember, try this with your own weapons, especially if you're using one of the new puncture weapons with melee doughty, which weakens people and raises your crit into the hemisphere. There's a lot of fun things you can do with these new Warframe 1999 Arcanes. They're all good. Now, on that note, I hope this helped. I hope you join the team of killers. Become a killer of teams. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments. It's one of the ways we can talk. Make sure you keep it easy in life. And remember, just keep gaming.